is more sound. Your volume is little bit on a higher pitch, not regular. So
Higher pitch. Not sure what that means.
it's more sound.
So I should reduce it?
It's okay. Like it is clear, but it is not usual. That's problem.
Yeah, because I have a new camera with sound in it.
Oh,
So that's what I'm kind of using. As long as it's clear, let's keep it as it is.
okay.
Okay. Six
I,
six
I
one.
I think you just have to reduce the volume on your side.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah.
Okay. So 661. Shri Sukavacha Tatha Prachate Shroshitnyam Anonita Swayambhuva Shashtim Sanjanayam Asha Dhutripitravatasalah. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, My dear king, thereafter at the request of Lord Brahma, Prajapati Daksha, who is known as the Prachetash, begot 60 daughters in the womb of his wife Asikni. All the daughters were very affectionate towards their father. So the previous chapter we saw how Narad Muni first had 10,000 sons, then the Haryavashas, then the 1,000 sons, and Narad Muni preached to them, and because of his preaching, they took to the path of renunciation. So Daksha, out of anger, had cursed Narad Muni, and he was also lamenting that he was not able to fulfill his service. So at that point, Lord Brahma came and he instructed Daksha to once again beget children. Now, it was Brahma's desire that Daksha have progeny. To Brahma's service is to, he has created the universe, so his service is also to populate it. And he populates it through the Prajapatis. But while Daksha was perturbed by the actions of Narada Muni, Brahma was not. Because ultimately, Narada was also interfering in the service of Brahma. But Brahma had the big picture. He understood that the real reason why Krishna wants conditioned soul to come into this universe is so that they can get liberated. And if they've gotten liberated, then the desire of Krishna is being fulfilled. Like Daksha was looking at a more narrow vision that I need to have more children, I need to have more children, my children need to have children. Brahma was looking at the bigger picture. However, there are still conditioned souls that were waiting to take birth. So he asked Daksha to continue with the service. The other thing we also see is that when service is done in this mood of dedication to Krishna, one is not overly attached to the success or failure or the results of that service. However, when the service is done with the mood of that I am the doer, then one becomes bewildered by the success and failure. So Daksha, he becomes very bewildered, which is manifesting as anger, not Brahma. Right? Because Brahma is a lot more exalted and he is doing a service in a mood of detachment. Right? So he goes ahead, he talks to Daksha and says, don't be bewildered, continue in your service. So Daksha, he thinks that if I have male children again, Narad Muni will do his thing again. So it will be all to a waste. So this time he begets 60 daughters in the womb of his wife, Asikni. Right? And Prabhupada says that females are not meant for the renounced order of life. They should be faithful to their good husbands. For if a husband is competent for liberation, his wife will also achieve liberation with him. As stated in the Shastra, the results of a husband's pious activities are shared by his wife. Therefore, the wife's duty is to be chaste and faithful to the husband. Then, without separate endeavor, she will share in all the profit the husband earns. And the corresponding point to it is that and the husband uh, will share the results of the wife's impious activities. So the wife shares the results of the husband's pious activities, but not the impious activities. And the wife shares the results of and the husband shares the results of the wife's impious activities, but not pious activities. Okay. Next verse. He gave 10 daughters in charity to Dharmaraj, Yamraj, 13 to Kashyap. They first gave 12 and then one more. 27 to the moon god, and 2 each to Angira, Krishaswa, and Bhuta. There were 4 daughters given, the other 4 daughters were given to Kashyap. Thus, Kashyap received 17 daughters in all. So, this is the distribution of the 60 daughters of Daksha. That 10 daughters went to Yamraj, 17 went to Kashyap, 27 went to moon god. So these 27 become the 27 nakshatras. And this is where later on we will see that the cause of the cursing of moon god by Daksha, because he neglects his 27 wives in favor of Rohini. And they go and complain to Daksha, and Daksha gets upset and curses Somadev. Then 2 each to Angira and Krishvas and Bhuta. So the wife of Angira, they have Brahaspati as their son, who becomes the spiritual master of the devas. And one of the wives of Kashyap has Shukracharya. I'm sorry, Shukracharya is not born from Kashyap. Shukracharya is born from Bhrigu Rishi. Okay, moving on. Now please hear from me the names of all these daughters and the descendants who filled all the 3 worlds. O king, a son named Devarishab was born from the womb of Bhanu, and from him came a son named Indrasen. From the womb of Lamba came a son named Vidyota, who generated all the clouds. So I'm not sure if I shared with Prem Kishore Prabhu these genealogical tables. If not, I will share it. And there I have taken from the Bhakti Vaibhava notes that are given by Gauranga Darshan Prabhu. So I've taken a picture of the notes. So there it is in terms of more easily understood as a table. From the womb of came the son named Sankat, and whose son was Kikat. From Kikat came the demigods named Durga. From Yami came the son named Swarga, whose son was Nandi. So Vishnu Chakravarti says that the Durgas are expansion. These Durgas are expansion of Durga Devi, the consort of Lord Shiva. Next verse. The son of Vishwa were the Vishwadevas who had no progeny. From the womb of Sadhya came the Sadhyas, who had a son named as Artha Siddhi. The 2 sons who took birth from Marutvati were Marutvan and Jayanta. Jayanta, who is an expansion of Lord Vasudeva, is known as Upendra. So this Upendra is different from Lord Vamandev, who is the son of Aditi. Next verse. The demigods named Mahurtikas took birth from the womb of Muhurta. These demigods deliver the results of action to the living entities of their respective times. So this is so just like we have Brahma Muhurat, so the whole day is divided into different Muhurats, and each of the Muhurat is presided by a demigod named as Mahurutkas, and they are responsible for delivering the results of the actions performed during that particular Muhurat. So I believe each Muhurat is, I think it's an hour and a half. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, verses 10 to 11. The son of Sankalpa was known as Sankalpa, and from him lust was born. The sons of Vasu were known as the 8 Vasus. Just hear the names from me: Drona, Prana, Dhruva, Arka, Agni, Dosha, Vastu, and Vibhavashu. Right, so from these 8 Dronas, the head of the 8 Drona, these 8 Vasus is Drona, who later on appeared as Bhishma. Then from Abhimati, the wife of the Vasu named Drona, were generated the sons named Harsha, Shoka, Bhaya, and so on. Urjaswati, the wife of Pran, gave birth to 3 sons, named Saha, Ayush, and Puroja. The wife of Dhruva was known as Dharani, and from her womb, various cities were born. So, this Dhruva, of course, is a different Dhruva from the son of Mararutanpad. Next verse. From the womb of Vasana, the wife of Arka, came many sons headed by Tarshadhara. The wives of Vasu, named Agni, gave birth to many sons headed by Dravanka. From Kritik, another wife of Agni, came the sons named Skanda, Kartika, whose sons were headed by Vishaka. And so this Skanda or Kartik is also the son of Lord Shiva and Parvati. And one of the reasons he is also considered to be the son of Kritika is because it's explained that in the Skand Puran that Skanda was born by the semen of Lord Shiva without the participation of Parvati. So the Devas had prayed to, when the Asuras were becoming powerful, the Devas had prayed to Lord Shiva to give them a commander-in-chief for the army. This was by the instructions of Brahma. So Lord Shiva then started performing austerities. And because of the power of the austerities, his semen became more and more tejas, so much so that it was burning the universe. So then the Devas went to Lord Shiva and asked him to stop the austerities and give eject the semen, which Lord Shiva did. And then because the semen was so hot that only Agni could carry it. So when Agni was carrying it, and then after that, this pastime, the Kritika is essentially star, presiding deity of star. The Kritikas, who were wife of Agni, they essentially took the semen from which then Kartike came. So Kartik, even though he is the son of Lord Shiva, he also considered to be the son of Kritika. Then moving on, from the womb of Sharvari, the wife of the Vasu named Dosha, came the son named Shishumar, who was an expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And from Angirashi, the wife of Vasu named Vastu, was born the great architect Vishwakarma. Vishwakarma became the husband of Akriti, from whom the Manu Chakshusha was born. The sons of Manu were known as Vishwadevas and Sadhyas. So, Chakshusha Manu is also born in the lineage of Dhruva. So, if you see Dhruva Maharaj's lineage, then Chakshusha Manu comes, and we also see him appear in the lineage of Daksha too. And the reason is, of course, because there is marriage. There is intermingling of the two lineages through marriage. So here it says the sons of Manu were known as Vishwadevas and Sadhyas. And in the verse 7, both the Vishwadevas and Sadhyas are also mentioned. Usha, the wife of Vaibhava, gave birth to 3 sons, Yushtha, Rochesh, and Atab. From Atab came Panchayama, the span of day, who awakens all living entities to material activities. Sarupa, the wife of Bhuta, gave birth to 10 million Rudras, of whom the 11 principal Rudras were Raivat, Aja, Bhava, Bhima, Vam, Ugra, Vakshapi, Ajay Kapat, Ahirband, Bahurup, and Mahan. Their associates, the ghosts and the goblins, who are very fearful, were born of the other wife of Bhuta. So Prabhupada writes that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that Bhuta had 2 wives. One of them, Sarupa, gave birth to the 11 Rudras, where the other wife gave birth to the associate of the Rudras known as ghosts and hobgoblins. And so these 11 Rudras are considered to be expansions of Lord Shiva. Verse 19. The Prajapati Angira had 2 wives named Swadha and Sati. The wife named Swadha accepted all the pitas as her sons, and Sati accepted Atharvangirisha Veda as her son. So you can see the exalted position of these personalities, right? So the pitas, which are worshipable to the humans, are appearing as the sons of these Prajapatis. Krishaswa, who had 2 wives named Arches and Dishana. In the wife named Arches, he begot Dhumaketu. And in Dishan, he begot 4 sons named Vedasir, Deval, Vayun, and Manu. Kashyap, who is also named Tarakshya, had 4 wives, Vinita, Suparna, Kadru, Patangi, and Yamini. Patangi gave birth to many kinds of birds, and Yamini gave birth to locusts. Vinita, Suparna gave birth to Garud, the carrier of Lord Vishnu, and to Anuru or Arun, the chariot driver of sun god. Kadru gave birth to different varieties of serpents. O Maharaj Parikshit, best of the Bharatas, the constellations named Kritika were all wives of the moon god. However, because Prajapati Daksha had caused him to suffer from a disease causing gradual destruction, the moon god could not beget children in any of his wives. As Prabhupada talks, because Somadev was very attached to Rohini, he neglected all his other wives, therefore Daksha became angry and cursed him. And because of the curse also, Somadev could not bear any children in the 27 daughters of Daksha. So in cosmology, we see that the moon god travels through this 27 constellations, right? So spends 1 month, approximately 1 month in each of the constellation, 1 lunar month. Okay, 24 to 26. Thereafter, the king of the moon pacified Prajapati Daksha with courteous words, and thus regained the portions of light he had lost during his disease. Nevertheless, he could not beget children. The moon loses its shining power during the dark fortnight, and in the bright fortnight it is manifest again. O King Parikshit, now please hear from me the names of Kashyap's wives, from whose wombs the population of the entire universe has come. They are mothers of almost all the population of the entire universe, and their names are very auspicious to hear. They are Aditi, Diti, Danu, Khasta, Arista, Surusha, Ila, Muni, Krodavasha, Tamar, Surabhi, Sarama, and Timi. From the womb of Timi, all the aquatics took birth, and from the womb of Sarama, the ferocious animals like tigers and lions took birth. Okay. So, in the next verse, the descendants of Kashyap's 13 wives are named. So, this style of presentation is known as Suchikata Nyaya. So, Suchikata Nyaya means logic. Suchikata means that literally it means in the manner of the needle and the cauldron. So, it is easier to place a spoon in a cauldron than to thread a needle. Right. So Suchikatana basically says that when speaking about philosophy or when explaining things or giving facts, better to put the easier ones first and the more complex ones later on. So Sukdev Goswami is first going to talk about the wives of Kashyap. Verse 27. My dear King Parikshit, from the womb of Surabhi, the buffalo, cow, and other animals with cloven hooves took birth. From the wombs of Tamra, the eagles, vultures, and other large birds of prey took birth. And from the wombs of Muni, angels took birth. The sons born of Krodavasha were the serpents known as the Dandashuka, as well as other serpents and the mosquitoes. All the various creepers and trees were born from the womb of Ila. The Rakshas, bad spirits, were born from the womb of Surasa. So the name Krodavasha basically means one who is not able to control anger. So we see that serpents are by nature angry. Even if you do not provoke them, they're by nature angry. And the mosquitoes, actually so this is more of a scientific fact, that the animal that causes the most number of deaths to human beings is actually mosquito. One might think it's like a lion or a tiger or an elephant, one of those larger animals. But actually, the mosquito is the cause for the maximum number of deaths. The snakes, I think, come pretty low down, third or fourth. They come. Verses 29 to 31. The Gandharvas were born from the womb of Arista, and the animals whose hooves are not split, such as the horse, were born from the womb of Kasta. O king, from the womb of Danu came 61 sons, of whom these 18 are very important. Dvimurda, Shambara, Arista, Hayagri, Vibhavashu, Ayomukha, Shanikshara, Sarvabhanu, Kapil, Arun, Tuloma, Vrishparva, Eka Chakra, Anutapan, Dhumrakesha, Virupaksha, Viprachitti, and Durjay. Right? So from Danu came the dynasty of the Danavas. And some of the names we can recognize. Arishtasur we can recognize, and Prishaparva. So Vishnuparva is the father of Sharmishta. He is also the father of Sachi Devi, who marries Indra. And Viprachitti also, another famous demon. Next verse. The daughter of Swarbhanu, named Suprabha, was married by Namuchi. The daughter of Vrishaparva, named Sharmishta, was given to the powerful king Yayati, the son of Nahusha. Right? So Sharmishta was technically not given because Yayati actually marries Devyani, and in a way she was given because she went as the maid of Devyani. But she wasn't really given as a wife to Yayati, but Yayati established illicit relationships with Sharmishta, and he had sons from her, which is why Devyani gets upset, and then Brahaspati, um, uh, 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 her father, not Brahaspati, father is Shukracharya. Shukracharya curses Yayati to lose his youth. Okay, verses 33 to 36. Vaishvana, the son of Danu, had 4 beautiful daughters named Upadanavi, Hayashira, Puloma, and Kalak. Hiranyaksha married Upadanavi, and Kratu married Hayashira. Thereafter, at the request of Lord Brahma, Prajapati Kashyap married Puloma and Kalaka, the other 2 daughters of Vaishvana. From the wombs of these 2 wives of Kashyap came 60,000 sons, headed by Nivatkavacha, who are known as Pulomas and the Kalakas. They were physically very strong and expert in fighting, and their aim was to disturb the sacrifices performed by the great sages. My dear king, when your grandfather Arjun went to the heavenly planets, he alone killed all these demons, and thus King Indra became extremely affectionate towards him. So Vaishvanan was another son of Danu, and Kashyap, ordered by Brahma, married Vaishvanar's daughters. Now, if you look at the lineage part, the daughters of Vaishnav are actually granddaughters of Kashyap. And if you look at the lineage, but the understanding is that amongst the celestials, these things don't carry that much weight. Then through them, Kashyap, he bears the 60,000 Nevat Kavachas. Yeah, so these Nevat Kavachas were very expert in fighting, and they performed austerities, and they had gotten this benediction from Brahma that they would be immune to Indra. So Indra could not do anything to them, and they would live underwater, and they would, anytime there was a yagya, they would destroy it. So when Arjun went for his 1 year in Swarga, then while leaving, he wanted to give some gift to Indra. So then Indra asks him to go and destroy. And Arjun goes and destroys both, actually. He destroys the Nevat Kavachas and also the Kalakyas. Both of them were actually living underwater. In the Garg Samhita, it is also noted that Duryodhana in his previous birth was the king of the Nevat Kavachas. Verse 37. In his wife Simika, Viprachitti begot 101 sons, of whom the eldest is Rahu, and the others are the 100 Ketus. All of them attained positions in the influential planets. So Simika is famous for when Hanuman was jumping, then Simika tried to swallow her. So that time Hanuman cuts her body into pieces. Verses 38, 39. Now please hear of me as I describe the descendants of Aditi in chronological order. In this dynasty, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan descended by his plenary expansion. The names of the sons of Aditi are as follows: Vivaswan, Arima, Usha, Twashta, Savita, Bhaga, Data, Vidhata, Varun, Mitra, Shatru, and Urukrama. And so these are the 12 Adityas. Vivaswan is, of course, the um,
Sun God.
Vivaswan is
Sun God, Prabhuji.
so the eldest of the Adityas is Indra. Not sure which one is Indra out of this. Anyway, verse 40. Sanjana, the wife of Vivaswan, the sun god, gave birth to the Manu named Shraddhadev. And the same fortunate wife also gave birth to the twins Yamraj and the river Yamuna. Then Yami, while wandering on the earth in the form of a bear, gave birth to the Ashwini Kumaras. Chaya, another wife of the sun god, begot two sons named Shanishchar and Swarini Manu, and one daughter, Tapati, who married Samvarna. So Shanishchar is the famous presiding deity of Shani. And just like Yamraj gives the results of the actions in future actions, Shanishchar gives the results of the present actions. Verse 42. From the womb of Matrak, the wife of Arima, were born many learned scholars. Among them, Lord Brahma created the human species, which are endowed with an aptitude for self-examination. So from the union of Arima and Matraka were born the sons who could discriminate between right and wrong actions. And among some of them who were interested in pursuing spiritual life, Brahma produced the human race. So Vishnu Chakravarti quotes the Aitreya Aranyaka that Purushatve Chavistram Atma. Search for Atma is manifested more in the human form. So not to say that the Devas are not aware, their level of awareness of the Atma is much higher in the Devas, and it is absent in the Asuras and the Rakshasas. In the human form, it is present but covered. So that is why this search, the spiritual inquiry is strongest amongst the human form. Verse 43. Pusha had two sons. Pusha had no sons. When Lord Shiva was angry at Daksha, Pusha had laughed at Lord Shiva and shown his teeth. Therefore, he lost his teeth and had to live by eating only ground food. So this pastime is related in the third canto, when Prajapati Daksha insulted Lord Shiva. There's a little bit of difficult to understand in terms of timing, because Daksha, the Daksha who insulted Lord Shiva, appeared during the reign of Vaibhava Manu, the first Manu. And the Daksha over here is during the sixth Manu, Chakshusha Manu. So considering that Pusha is a descendant of Daksha too, not clear how he, because Lord Shiva, in addition to beheading Daksha, he had also, or more so it was Veerbhadra. Veerbhadra had basically punched him in the mouth because Pusha was showing his teeth. He was smiling and grinning when Daksha was insulting Lord Shiva. Right, but this happened during the reign of Swayambhavu Manu. So one way to understand is just like near Daksha 2, there was probably a Pusha 2. And Pusha 2 was born with the same affliction as Pusha 1. But this is merely, this is one way of understanding. Verse 44. Rachana, the daughter of the Daityas, became the wife of Prajapati Twasta. By his semen, he begot in her womb two very powerful sons named Shanivesha and Vishwarupa. Right? So Twasta is one of the sons of Kashyap, and Rachana is the descendant of Diti. So this is important verse because this is actually going to set the stage for the appearance of Vritasur later on. Right? So by the union of Rachana and Twasta comes Vishwarup. Vishwarup, then we'll see in the next chapter, he becomes a priest for Indra. But because his mother is related to the Daityas, he would secretly offer part of the oblations to the Daityas. And when Indra found out, then he killed Vishwarupa, and then Twasta became very angry, and he performed this yajna to kill Indra, and there was a mistake in the chanting of the mantra. So the demon that appears from the yajna is Vritasur. But instead of Indraha, it was Indraha. So instead of killer of Indra, he was one who would be killed by Indra. But this sets the stage of so Vritasur is the second longest pastime in Bhagavata. Longest is that of Prahlad Maharaj. But then this sets the stage of that pastime. Okay. And then now we come to the last verse of the chapter. Although Vishwarupa was the son of the daughter of her eternal enemies, the demons, the demigods accepted him as the priest in accordance with the order of Brahma, when they were abandoned by the spiritual master Praspati, whom they had disrespected. Right? So this is setting the stage for the next chapter, where this pastime is going to be explained in more details. How was Brahaspati disrespected? What did Indra do after that? Why did he go to Vishwarupa, etc., etc. That's essentially setting the stage for the appearance of Vritasur. Okay, so I'll stop over here, see if there's any discussion.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for the explaining the lineages. So two questions, Prabhuji. First one is actually what are the lessons for us by knowing these lineages, Prabhuji? Because I'm asking this question in a way that when we hear the scriptures, many times when people ask who are you, like they used to tell like I am so and so children, I'm son of so and so, I'm daughter of so and so, that kind of thing. We don't see that kind of culture now. So what do we need to learn by knowing these lineages? That is one question. And another question is what happened to Daksha's final end of even the second Daksha's life? Because even he cursed his own son-in-law, it doesn't seem. I don't know how much he is right on his part to do that curse, because in a way it was affected his own daughters. So I was just curious what happened to Daksha in final.
So this question of where these complicated lineages given in the fifth canto, there were quite a few chapters which were talking about the lineages. Seventh canto also you will see, or we won't see, but if you read the seventh canto, you'll see lineages are given. And two reasons. One is that Mahapurans, they have 10 symptoms. So, atra sarga visargascha. So, in that verse, one of the symptoms of the Mahapuran is that it talks about the lineage of the primary lineage of the major dynasties. So for a composition to qualify as a Mahapuran, it should speak about lineages, right? Which is why it speaks. The second is that reciting these lineages is considered to be very auspicious, because even the ones who are demoniac, they're all considered to be great personalities. Because if you look at it, that our name is not going to appear in the Bhagavatam, right? So, so you can imagine the status of a person whose name is spoken by Sukadev Goswami, by Sutta Goswami, heard by the sages of Naimisharanya, and appearing in the Bhagavatam, like Krishna says, is the sound personification of him. The Bhagavatam is presented as a considered presented as a gold throne. So while a lot of these personalities are pious and divine, some of them are also not pious, but nevertheless, reciting them creates piety, right? So many verses are devoted to Hiranyakashipu, right? And people say that, or devotees say that uh, there are devotees who are worshipping Lord Vishnu to get a position by his lotus feet, and Hiranyakashipu was sitting on the lap of the Lord, right? So you can understand their position. What was your second question? That what happened to Daksha? Not clear. It's not given in the Bhagavatam.
Oh,
What happened to him?
sure. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I always have a question about, we said Lord Shiva. And have you ever heard about Ayyappa Swami? It's worshipped mostly in India, in South India. Have you ever heard about this name?
I have. So he's of course very famous in South. He's considered to have been produced by the union of Lord Shiva and Mohini Murti.
Yes.
Right. So there's a pastime in which Lord Shiva wanted to see the Mohini form of Krishna, and then he sees in the Bhagavatam it goes on as a little different, that Lord Shiva, he ejaculates and the semen falls on the different planets and becomes gold. But in some Puranas it is also mentioned that because Lord Shiva is a great personality, his semen never goes to waste. So it was also accepted by Mohini Devi, and essentially Lord Ayyappa is an expansion of Lord Krishna, combined incarnation of Krishna and Lord Shiva. In Gaudiya Vaishnava, at least I'm not aware of much discussion regarding him. Right? He obviously has a very, very exalted position in the south, and there is the 40-day trek that happens, etc., etc. But not much mention in Gaudiya Vaishnava.
Okay, yeah, this is what I wanted to clarify, because me too, I've heard the same thing. He's like, like a brother of Kartikeya. We hear all the name Kartikeya, Ganesh, and all, but never Ayyappa. And he was also like a great warrior also, what I understood. But yeah, you're confirming that in Srimad Bhagavatam and in ISKCON, I've never heard about Ayyappa Swami.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro. But okay, now how do we take this as Gaudiya follower?
So one way to understand is that like in the Bhagavatam itself, in the first canto, when the incarnations of Krishna are being talked about, and then Sukadeva Goswami says that they're just a sample. He says the incarnations of the Lord are limitless, like the waves in an ocean, and it's not possible to talk about that, right? So he talks about the principle, whatever 30, 32 incarnations he talks about there. So our mood is that we stay respectful of what the forms of Krishna that are worshipped everywhere are at other places, but our focus on meditation is according to what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Guru and Sadhu say, right? So as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we worship Krishna. Mostly we worship Krishna, right? So that's our focus. Like we don't really worship Lord Vishnu that much, or expansions of Lord Vishnu. And again, the reason is that it's a matter of the attractor and the attracted. That those souls who are naturally attracted to Krishna Swayam Bhagwan get attracted to Mahaprabhu. Right? And then there are those who are attracted to Lord Vishnu. They get attracted to other sampradayas, to other forms of the Lord. They're also bona fide. But just like they're firm in their conviction, we stay firm in our conviction.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu, for clarifying. Very good.
Who was it? Who was that Prabhu who is a professor in religion? Garuda Prabhu, right? So Garuda Prabhu, he was making this point that we should not be in this mood of saying that my God can beat up your God. Right? So that that results in a lot of unnecessary angst. Actually, you were saying it also results in diminishing your faith in your own God. People who would say that my God is the only God and he can beat up all other gods. In the end, it actually diminishes the faith in your own God. But if you accept the fact that, like Bhakti Vinod Thakur writes, right, that he talks in context of Jesus Christ. And he says that it's so wonderful that my Krishna has expanded himself in the form of so many other worshipable entities. I'm paraphrasing, I don't know the exact quote, but he writes this statement which is considered to be a masterpiece of displaying the inclusive mood of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So essentially what he's saying is that Lord Jesus Christ is worshipable by me because he is an empowered incarnation of Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada had the same mood. But does that mean that you put a photo of Lord Jesus on your altar and start worshipping him? No. Our primary nishtha continues to be according to what our parampara and guru tells us, which is worshipping Krishna.
Yes, thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for asking wonderful questions. Okay, so we will end over here. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। Thai Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.